Olympic boxer Imane Khelif is living a controversial situation at this time, and she has clarified she doesn't identify herself either as a transgender or as an intersexual person. She has a sexual developmental disorder known as hyperandrogenism. Let me explain you what is this from a clinical sexologist perspective. Sex and gender are distinct entities. Sex is related to biology, chromosomes, hormones, and anatomy, which means the external and the internal genitalia. Gender is related to society and culture. It is the social meaning attached to being a female or a male. We have different activation processes that affect our sexual developmental. Humans commonly have 23 pairs of chromosomes. 22 pairs are called autosomes, and the other 2 chromosomes are known as sex chromosomes, the X and the Y. Typically, females have 2 sex chromosomes that are 2X, and males have 1X and 1Y. We are undifferentiated until week 6 of pregnancy. During the fecundation process, the combination of the X and the Y will determine the development into testes or ovaries. It's in the Y chromosome that sits different genes that decides whether the fetal gonads develop into female or a male genitalia. Then the sex organs go on to produce hormones, which then affect the development of the rest of the cells. During the second half of pregnancy, there is a release and also an inhibition of hormones in the brain, which activates the process of feminization and masculinization features. So what is a sexual developmental disorder? It is a congenital incongruence between the chromosomatic sex or the gonads and the external or internal genitalia. So sometimes you have babies that are born with sex chromosomes that are of different combinations, and then they are identified as intersex. There's disorders that are related with the different combination of chromosomes, but also with different levels of hormones, even during that first stage of development that happens in the prenatal stage. So you can also have a person that is born with both genitalia, female and male. Baby, for example, that are born, sometimes they are born with no penis, and yet they are male based on a chromosomes X and Y. Sometimes you have babies that are born with genitals that looks like a penis, but in reality they are female based on other factors. So what about athlete Imane Khelif? I haven't found an official disclosure of her genetic test. Some articles state that she was born with an XY chromosomes, which will make her being a male from a chromosomatic perspective. However, she was raised as a female and she was designed a female when she was born, probably because her genitalia looked like a female genitalia. What we know is that she has a sexual developmental disorder that is known as hyperandrogenism that could be acquired during the prenatal developmental period or during puberty. Now, if she was born with the XY chromosomes, most females that are born with this condition, they are not aware until puberty, because it's then during puberty that, for example, they experience the absence of the period, or they experience the masculinization of some features in their body. Let's say that she had XX chromosomes, which will make her a female from the chromosomatic perspective. However, she does have an excess of androgens. This group of hormones, sex hormones, are created in the adrenal glands and also in the fat cells and then the sexual organs. The main testosterone is the main hormone from this group of hormones, and it's very common. It affects from 5 to 10% of females. The question is, how fair is to allow female athletes with endogenous testosterone levels in the male range, which is like 10-20 times higher than normal, to compete against those with normal female androgen levels? Circulating testosterone is a very strong factor to explain the disadvantage between female and males' performance when they are in a competition. That's why some international organizations have established regulations in order to ensure that competitions are fair. And it is mandating that the level of androgens be less than the lower limit or normal for men as a defining criteria for these then female athletes to compete in the events. So it's very possible that her level of androgens is within the sport organization's regulations despite her condition. Another important point to consider here is that athlete Khelif has suffered a judgment and a criticism of some in society that continue to stigmatize gender roles and identities without a scientific knowledge, which increases social discrimination. Knowledge and rational decision making is what makes a society progress. Athlete Khelif identified herself as a female. She was assigned the sex of a female when she was born, despite of any biological condition. It is the responsibility of every international sport organization to set the rules and the policies about the level of androgens that female athletes with this condition may have, because they also can receive treatment to regulate the level of hormones. And it's a very important key that endocrinologists intervenes and also they may be part of this group of doctors that make the treatment and the evaluation and assessment in these events. Research is controversial. We need more studies to determine the eligibility process of female athletes that have this condition, because they also can receive this specific treatment for it. Let's base our judgment in knowledge, in science, in compassion, and in the essential condition of being what we are, humans.